Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please join me while I pray. Father God, as we stand here as Americans, not blue Americans or red Americans, but just Americans, and we say the Pledge of Allegiance, but we also stand as a divided country, and we pray your hand of mercy on this country and everyone in it. And show us, Lord, how we can bring our country together as one people and start moving forward again instead of all the fighting we've had. And we are and should be a nation under God. So we just pray that continued blessing on us, that we turn back to you because we know that you're our only hope. We pray you be with these commissioners today. They have difficult decisions to make for this county. We pray you give them the wisdom to make good decisions that benefit all the citizens. And we give you the glory for what's going to be accomplished. For in your name we pray.
Amen. Good morning, everyone. We do have a quorum, and we have some people who signed up to be heard. We'll start out with Katie Jackson.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, everybody present. My name is Katie Jackson. I am with the post commander of VFW Post 3904 here in Rockport at 411 Market Street. First, I'd like to thank everybody for their support in helping us to try and raise funds to rebuild the building. We are still 150,000 short, so if you got that in your pocket, and you just send it our way. We'd appreciate it. It is tax deductible. But the reason I'm here is that Veterans Day is on Wednesday. We will be having a short ceremony in the park, Veterans Park, at 11 o'clock. It'll consist of a singing of the national anthem, a prayer. I'm going to speak for about 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance and we're going to go. It's going to be a nice, short, quick, outside. We are going to, enforce social distancing. Please wear a mask if you feel like you need to, since we will be outside. There will be nothing afterward. Once again, COVID restrictions, but we wanted to take a chance to thank all of our veterans for coming out and doing what we all do. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie Wilson.
Good morning, Judge. My name's Monty Wilson, and I live at 127 Ling Road. And for thank you for letting me express my concerns. For the past year, I had to endure my neighbor at 129, 127. I'm not sure what lot he uses for an address. Building a house. First, it was a Morgan shed, just an empty shell, nothing else. And then they proceeded to put a concrete cement slab in my yard, in his yard, I'm sorry, about a foot from my property, which is, from my understanding, is legal. Everything I hear is legal. Now they decide to put a roof on top of it, which is permanent. I was told there was no permanent structures allowed on that property there with the way the slab is. Okay, each time I've gone home and I've had to clean my yard up from the workers, sitting on my air conditioner, splashing cement all over my house. I've talked to the owner. All he does is just smirk and smile, doesn't say a word. Okay, and I guess that's what his money buys. Okay, the next thing I have, I confronted the owner about this and he doesn't do anything about it. So now, I'm getting sick and tired of people coming over there. Now they're urinating in the yard. There's no porta potty. All it is a septic, an empty shell. They're building a house, which is no problem. I have no problem with that. But when I go out back my house and out back my yard and sit on my patio and I see 3 grown men urinate in the yard, I don't think that's very proper. Okay. All I'm asking, and everybody keeps telling me, it's legal, it's legal. What am I supposed to do? So I'm just asking for some help, have somebody look into it. They say they have a septic on there. I called Road and Bridge, and Kat says everything is legal. They have a septic. Constituting a septic does not mean they have a bathroom in the house. If that's the case, then I can just get all my money back for all my permits that I've put in my yard. And every contractor in town doesn't need a porta potty. They can just go out in the yard and not worry about it. And that's about all I got. And I want to thank you for listening to me.
Well,
Thank you.
Mike, I didn't quite get your name or which precinct you're in, what your address is. Could you?
Bonnie Wilson,
And where is this exactly?
127 Ling Road.
Do you know which precinct you're in?
Precinct.
Are you in 4? That's me. Yeah. It's a where? Give me the crossroads near Ling Road.
Rattlesnake Point.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. And we have one other. Joe Ingram.
Judge, thank you for letting me be here too and talk. I'm in the same situation with money, okay? I live at 143 Lean.
Name, please.
Joe Ingram.
Thank you.
Sorry. They do have a sewer system there, but I have a copy of the permit when the sewer system was put in. And the permit for the sewer system was built for one RV. Now they have a house on it and they have 2 hookups for RVs on that place. Sewer system does not allow that, okay? The permit was made for 1. And I have a copy of it if anybody wants to see it, but I didn't bring it here. And the other thing is I've talked to several master plumbers. The plumbing that was put in from the sewer system to the house and to the RVs, the water line and the sewer system is in the same ditch, which I was told was not legal, unless they were at least 12 to 18 inches apart, and they were not. Because I go down to Monty's house and I see what's going on down there too. And basically what I'm trying to do is help her. Also, Monty missed a little bit a while ago on the cover that was built over the slab. The cover, I was told by Road and Bridge, or a permanent structure, had to be at least 5 feet off the property line, and it's not. It's right on the property line. So we're just asking for some help for somebody to take care of what's going on at this place. So, and that's basically all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Russo, you want to speak on the agenda time, right?
Correct, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. We have a presentation, Aaron Horan on Mott McDonald Engineering on plans for the opening of Cedar Bio in the spring of 2021. As you all know, Harvey closed something that we worked 10 years to get open, and now we're going to go back and open it up. And after 5 years of study by Mott McDonald, they've come up with a plan. So go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Yes, my name is Aaron Horan. I'm a principal coastal engineer with Mott McDonald. And what my discussion here today is going to be a quick overview of the reopening of Vincent Slough and Cedar Bayou, basically culminating in that 5 years of monitoring that we've been doing, optimizing the design and giving a little bit of update on the path forward here. So I'll just jump right into it if I can. There it goes. So what we're going to be talking about here in my quick discussion is our 95% design approach, which we currently have that 95% design into the county. The county is reviewing that and reviewing the bid package that goes along with it. I'm going to talk about the recent data collection that we just did within the past couple of months, and then how we incorporated that into the modeling and analysis to develop the optimized design. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how that affects the costs for the 2021 event, and then really looking at where we are and what the path forward is. So some of the major components of the 95% design approach were to minimize the impacts to sensitive habitats. And that was part of discussions with the Army Corps of Engineers and the regulatory agencies. Another component we wanted to do was reduce those dredge volumes from the previous years, really trying to optimize areas that were already deeper. And then we wanted to achieve a more natural channel, and looking historically, trying to match some of those historical shapes we saw from not only from when we opened in 2014, but back to the historical channels that were there previously. And then, as always, trying to maximize that flow through Cedar Bayou and Vincent Slough. So just moving to the data collection, just about a month ago, we took aerials flown, and one interesting thing about this is this was about the time I can't remember which Delta or Zeta or whatever it was that was coming through at the time, but there was high water levels. So when this was taken, there was a slight connection already to the Gulf with those elevated water levels. You can see one connecting over in Vincent Slough to the left and Cedar Bayou to the right. And one thing is when the water goes back down, those connections disappear. So it's not considered that it's open, but it does help us at this point in time in the design. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. So this is just a plot of the topographic and bathymetric data that was collected, in the water by boat, and then also by walking surveys across the area. And what you're looking at in this plot is elevations above basically a mean sea level, which we're calling 0 at this point. And the red colors are higher elevations, blue colors are lower elevations. And one thing to note in the orangish area in the center, I don't know if does this have a laser pointer on it? And it doesn't work on the TV. Great. So the orange part in the center, those elevations are about a +3. And what Harvey did, even though it took that material and pushed it into Vincent Slough and Cedar Bayou and basically clogging them up, it really wiped that whole area, giving us a much lower elevation, because that was on the order of +6 and higher prior to Harvey. So that's a good thing going into it, and actually allowed for some of these connections to take place during the high water levels. Another part of the data collection is the habitat surveys. And this is just a repeat of the same habitat survey that we have been doing for 5 years as part of the monitoring from 2014. And really, sorry, the text is really small there, but really the main thing I want to point out is that throughout the entire area set up by the biological opinion through the regulatory agencies, is that we had to survey that entire area. And what those different colored hatches show are 13 different habitat types. And really we had to identify and zero in on 3 of them, oysters, seagrass, and spartina, or the marsh grass. And another part of this design to optimize it, we wanted to avoid as much of that as possible. So in the upper right, there's that red dashed square. So I'm going to blow that up here a little bit. And what you can see, the 2 black dashed lines, that's the previous template from 2014. And you can see all of the colors back behind it. Really, some of the more important, as I mentioned, are the seagrass and the spartina. The good thing is there's no oysters near where we're working, and there wasn't in 2014. So that's not a huge issue. But we saw from this, and then talking to the regulatory agencies, that we needed to adjust the template to avoid mitigation, because if you recall, there was mitigation requirements in 2014. Yes. The spartina is the red Yeah, it's a little hard to see on there. It's smooth cordgrass. It's the red box. It's kind of hard to see, but what we mostly were impacting is the seagrass, which is that kind of greenish with I know it's terrible to look at, but so whenever we laid the previous template across there, we saw that it went right through some seagrass and impacted those. So then also looking back at historical thowlegs of the channels, which are that's basically the center line of any channel. And, we were limited by the aerial photos that were available back to 1969. And so after we opened it in 2014, we wanted to optimize what it naturally wanted to do and to reach equilibrium. And we really wanted to go back and see what it's comfortable sitting at when it wants to flow. And all these different colors are those different natural flow paths. And you can see in Vincent Slough, most of those flows ran closer to the south, right where it says Vincent Slough, and Cedar Bayou is pretty close to where we had the straight opening before, but it naturally wants to meander in some of those areas. And there's some older relic channels that are naturally deep, and they're deep right now, and they have been for a number of years. And then also how it comes out into the migration zone, the big sandy area out in the middle, turns and wants to come offshore at 90 degrees, basically perpendicular. So we brought all this into how we developed the current design, which I'm showing here is, again, elevation plots. The previous from 2014 is on the left, and then the proposed is on the right. So I'll go into a little more of the modeling discussion, the numerical model that we ran. But up to this point, the data collection and the habitat really started to govern toward the shape. So then we brought the shape forward to look at and see how that ran in our model there. So what we had to do to bring that into our model, in the upper right is just the large modeling domain, and really what that is just a big grid that we force tidal flows, wind, and that's a large scale of the Texas coast with the project site in the center. And then the larger picture is a blow up of that, and you can see the template, and that's how we brought the template into the model to force those conditions to see what the response was, so that way we can optimize that design. And then this will move correctly. So what this is a short movie of the tidal currents flowing in, comparing the previous to the proposed, with the more red colors indicating higher velocities, the bluer colors are lower velocities. And we wanted to first check what our assumptions were on that change shape, and we made some minor adjustments to it to what you see now. And then another thing that we immediately noticed that compared to the previous design that runs a lot of the flow ends up being really close right along the beach, whereas the proposed, it'll run that flow straight offshore, which that helps with a flushing of the material, because it gets it away from the mouth, off of the beach, and helps Cedar Bayou and Vincent Slough migrate easier across that migration zone. So what you're seeing here is, as you got a flood tide running in, and then back to an ebb tide. And this is just a snapshot from that movie of basically the maximum velocity that we captured during that run, which the run ends up being a couple of weeks worth of a tidal signal. And so we can see here that we still have that maximum flow as it comes out to the Gulf. And a couple of things to notice, just shown by the large black arrows, is that in Vincent Slough, we were able to increase some of those flows previous. And with Cedar Bayou, even changing that shape really didn't change the flow in Cedar Bayou itself. So that's another thing we wanted to check by going straight to more of a migrated shape. And as I mentioned, as part of the 95% design, here's just one of the sheets in that design set showing the design template in plan view at the top, and then we cut several cross sections so you can see where it is relative to the surveyed ground, and it's about the channel. Just like in 2014, the channel's about 5.5 feet deep in a lot of places. And then on the far left, the darker hatch, the long hatch along the shoreline, that is the permitted placement site for the material as it's all dredged out of the template down. And then one thing we did, there's actually two placement areas that were permitted. One's a little closer to Cedar Bayou, just next to placement area 2. And then we removed that out of this design just to make sure that the contractor got the material as far as he could away from the migration zone and the mouth of Cedar Bayou. And by doing all of this, the changing of the design, one of the benefits that came out of it is that we were able to reduce that dredging volume. So what that means is reduce the dredge volume, reduce costs. So really what we're looking at now is very little cost beyond what's already in the pot from FEMA and Texas Parks and Wildlife. So it's good news for the county on a cost perspective.
Aaron, have you modeled bringing Cedar Bayou more straight out and Vincent Slough straight out and tying Cedar Bayou into the side of it rather than turning back to the north and like it was previously?
I guess I don't understand.
Instead of making Vincent Slough come out and turn back to the north and tying it, have you tried modeling, bringing Vincent Slough straight?
Oh, coming straight out.
And then tying Cedar Bayou into the side of it?
Yeah, well, so one thing with that is what we've seen with migration zone, just of the historical aerials and through discussions with folks that have been out there, is that when let's say when Cedar Bayou gets opened up, maybe by a storm or something of that nature, a lot of times it wants to open up right where Cedar Bayou connects closest, which is what you see here. And then over time, it migrates down the migration zone, gets to the end, and starts running into higher elevation. So that material sloughs in, falls into the channel, and clogs it up to where it stops. Even though there's still flow from Cedar Bayou, and then it jumps back to the beginning because it still wants to flow. So what we're doing here is, it's like taking a trip. You want to gas up your car before you leave. We want to have the maximum flow for the most amount of time. So that's why we're bringing it up to the north.
Because, recently Vincent Slough has been open for a pretty good while, where Cedar Bayou wasn't.
Aaron, if you're talking about maximum volume, it seems to me that when you turn and go north like that, I kind of agree with Commissioner. What you're doing is you're slowing it down. You're making a bend there. And the last time, within a year after those two came together, you had a lot of sand right there at the confluence of those two channels. If you wanted to reduce the amount of dredge material going straight from Vincent Slough into the Gulf, seems to me that you would save an awful lot of dredge material there.
Right. And are you talking about not having Vincent Slough and Cedar Bayou?
I'm talking about having two openings into the Gulf.
Well, so to optimize the design, and this is one of the things going back to really what we saw from the 2014 opening, was basically a Venturi effect. So as Cedar Bayou flows, it's pulling volume from Vincent Slough. And so the reason for that is, once the water gets into the backside of Vincent Slough, it slows down. It's in that old relic hurricane overwash. So there's not a lot of flow velocity potential on that side. You have all the flow velocity potential is on Cedar Bayou because it's running through deep water. Also, we wanted that to be able to help Vincent Slough as much as possible, have that connection in
Is there any thought given in your design to rising sea levels. Everybody kisses, we're going to have rising sea levels. These high tides that we're seeing may not be unusual in the future.
Yeah, correct. No, that's what we're expecting, these higher tides to be somewhat of a new normal. So that, coupled with the fact that Harvey wiped that whole area and dropped a lot of sediment, or moved it back, that now we're having to remove because it had clogged it up. This event is looking to us, we're much more optimistic about this event because there's nothing to really get in the way of that migration.
The design also probably should be considered when we start talking about the possibility of annual maintenance out there on those channels.
Mm-hmm.
Which one would be easier to maintain?
Well, as part of the 5 years of the monitoring that we did, we also developed a maintenance plan. And every year when we got that data, we brought it in and said, okay, if we have to dredge tomorrow, where's the optimal places to dredge? And we broke the entire system up into about 10 different individual reaches to say, okay, if we had X amount of dollars, where's that money best spent to maintain and make sure that it's open? So yeah, we've looked at that, and that's all in that that maintenance, master maintenance dredging plan.
The projected cost of annual maintenance out there.
I think whenever we were a couple of years into it, it was on the order of, $4 million or so.
Annually?
Annually?
Oh, no, not annually. No, annually, if you annualize it, it would be 4 years every, 7 to.
I wonder if you just plan to go out there and maintain it every year with some maintenance dredging.
You could, but then, man, you'd lose a lot of money in mobilization costs, and because the mobilization that we're talking about here is through the roof. So it's if you're going that out every year, it becomes very inefficient per cubic yard.
What were you saying about
Well, good
cost?
for discussion, but this is a presentation. We're not supposed to discuss this. I know it's interesting.
Well, we can ask questions.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the numbers you gave us for annual cost of maintenance.
So we've looked at a annualized cost, which ends up being about 900, $1 million,
Okay.
something like that. That's annualized from, if you get the 5, 7, 9 year, whatever, if there's a storm, and you break that down into what
Do you have any costs yet for the county's probable share of doing the whole work, the part that's not covered by FEMA and Texas Parks and Wildlife?
yes, we do.
That is what?
But right now we've got an idea of it.
Give me a rough idea then, please.
Well, I can't at this juncture in public because of the volumes that we're looking at. We don't know what that's going to be at the time of bidding. Yeah,
Could be millions,
it's less than that. Yes,
less than millions.
it's.
As I said, we're not supposed to discuss this. This is a presentation.
Well,
We can always ask questions.
Yeah, well, and another reason that we can't bring the cost up right now is because of the procurement policies. That this is a sealed bid, so we can't talk about what that potential cost is above what we're looking at. So I'm not trying to hide things. I just purposely removed it from this presentation. So.
Okay, anything else?
Just real quickly, the path forward, looking at the timeline. So as I mentioned, we got the 95% design. We're moving forward into the 100% design submittal in another week or so here, and then going through the process of advertisement, bid opening, award, shooting forward toward the end of this year, and then getting contractor out on site into March, April timeframe next year, and to start work, around May or so. And then we're bounded by the wintering hooping crane window, which we got to be out of there by November 1st next year.
Hooping crane have changed the timing.
Yes, yeah, they have shifted it and made it a little longer, and they shifted it back in the year. So,
Okay, thank you. I
Yep.
appreciate it.
that's it. Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation from Keep Aransas County Beautiful, and a discussion of Keep Texas Beautiful grant that was received, which was quite sizable. They're doing a great job.
Judge
Morning.
Mills, Commissioners, thank you so much for allowing us to present to you today. We do have a presentation to show you of the grant. That's the Cultural Arts District presentation.
Yes.
I am Dan Williams. I'm the president of Keep Aransas County Beautiful. We have some current and former board members here, and we also have Valerie Gonzalez, because this grant is not just for Keep Aransas County Beautiful. It is for all of Aransas County and all of Aransas County governments and the partnerships that we do together. So we're very happy to partner with Valerie. She's fun to work with. We had a blast in the VTIP program. So very excited to show you, and it's only going to get better and better. So in 2019, we received this award with Keep Texas Beautiful. It's they do this in partnership for the last 30 years with TxDOT, and it awards this affiliates, the top 10 affiliates in the state of Texas, based on population size. So we don't compete against Houston and what have you. And based on our population size, we received a $210,000 grant. The funds are used for landscaping projects along TxDOT right-of-ways in the form of goods and services provided by TxDOT. They really are very specific about their funds. We had hoped for wayfinding signs. We had hoped for brown signs that show people into the city off of the bypass. And we do have a plan for that offsite and outside of this grant.
Dan, what's
Yes.
GCAA again?
Okay,
Sorry.
it's the Government Community Achievement Award, and it's given to us by Governor Abbott on behalf of Keep Texas Beautiful and the TxDOT.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So the affiliates are all graded on what they do, not just in one area. It's not just about the trash. It's about community leadership, environmental education, litter prevention. We want to do maybe some billboards to stop the trash before it starts, public awareness. We really want to get more involved in code enforcement in unique ways. We have a person in our board who really has a heart for that. And then we have information that we've gotten from other affiliates that have been very, why recreate the wheel, just come up with ideas that others have done and just make it for Aransas County. So we were graded on those. When we had our initial discussions with TxDOT, we had to be very open and honest with them about their landscape project that they would have proposed for us, because a lot of the landscape projects that they do are in entrance areas to the city that have beautiful fountains and LED lighting and lots of landscaping upkeep. And so we told them the number one thing first is tourism. And that is a very important thing to our area. We are a very unique coastal area, and anything that they could do with TxDOT to boost our tourism in this, what they have planned for us, would be a huge bonus to our area. We also talked about the budget realities. Like I said, they have very large landscapes that they do that would be would cost a lot to maintain and upkeep long term. We explained the budgetary issues due to Hurricane Harvey, loss of property taxes, having to rebuild infrastructure, and the like that was lost. So, and then finally, we talked about the need for minimal upkeep, both short and long term. Something that would be easy to maintain and that maybe local master naturalists and the Keep Aransas County Beautiful affiliates ourselves could do. So they went back and mulled over this in Austin, and they came back with what we were shocked with what they came up with, and we were very, very pleased. We really felt heard. So they came up with monoliths and meaningful and located for visitors' entrance to the county. One monolith would come from visitors that come from Houston, one from San Antonio visitors, one from Corpus Christi, and another for Aransas Pass. And those are all in the yellow starred areas that you see there. The dimensions and descriptions, they will uniquely depict our county as people drive into our county. They will tie in with the new overpass that is being proposed for Aransas Pass. They're starting a new overpass there, and the designs that we have that they're putting on our monoliths will also tie into the overpass that will be by Alan Samuels dealership. They will be 13 feet high. They'll build them up by 2 feet. And they'll have Aransas County on each sign. They do not demark the county entrance, but they demark a special area in the county as you come in within that entrance.
Question?
Yes.
You're going to put this over by Allen Samuels?
No, we are not.
Because that's not in the county.
That's not in the county, right? But you will see these same designs in the overpass and Ranzas Pass too. I think they're basically, they have the person, the company building these molds. They'll just use them within that bridge overpass rather. So what they came up with, 2 landscapes for 2 entrances. This one is as you come in from Anwar, Houston area, in the picnic area. It will have, you'll see there to the far right, it'll have a whooping crane, which is a perfect placing of that. You'll see that whooping crane as you go to Anwar from our area to go visit the whooping cranes in that area, and you'll also see it, and it's a very impactful symbol for our county. So they have a bee hive right there because of pollinator gardens that we talked about, but they're going to use native grasses that'll be taller on the ends and short in the middle to really focus on the monolith. And at night, it will be lit up by LED lighting. It's optional. This is not for votes or anything because it will have to be a separate MOU with you, but they estimate, the landscape architects estimate $65 per year, per site, per location, if we do decide to go with LED night lighting, such as this. So they said, let's do whooping crane near Anwar, which is wonderful. 188 and 1096, we're looking at a ibis. And then on the bypass, right there, kind of where they have the new tower that they put in on the south side going down the bypass, you'll have either a monarch butterfly, and on the north side you'll have a hummingbird or vice versa. We haven't decided which one, but those will be depicted as well on 35 bypass at 12th Street.
Question.
Sure.
What's ANWR stand for?
Ranzas Wildlife Refuge.
National Wildlife.
Not National Wildlife, yes, where the whooping cranes are. And then they wanted to do something as you leave 188 going towards Cove Harbor. And we came up with, we're like, let's do a Texas Slam there, monolith. As you come in from Ranzas Pass and 188. And so the architects came back a few hours later. It's like, what's a Texas Slam? I've been Googling. I can't find. So it'll be something as seen here going to and from Cove Harbor, our largest boating area with boats coming in. And I really like the idea of that.
1096, 1069.
Did I do it wrong? Probably. Of course.
1069.
Yeah. I did that to make sure you were paying attention. So what they have, we've told them it's very, very important for us to do all natives. We have a very, very strong master gardener program here, master naturalist program. We want it to be easy upkeep. So when you see the crosshatches, the lines there at 1069 and 188 will be all native wildflowers in that area, crosshatched. And then over on the picnic area coming from Tyboli into the area, on the very ends, you'll see wildflower gardens that are all native installed there as well. And then the bottom one shows you where the monoliths would be on 12th Street, going north and south on the bypass. So TxDOT, the plan is to install June 21st, 2021. We're just in the schematic design phase. They will enter an MOU with Aransas County when it's time to make a formal decision. Because of our budget constraints with the county, they've agreed to do upkeep and maintenance for it for 9 months. They usually only do it for 3, but they've extended it for 9 months. They will mow it as they are all on TxDOT right of ways, so there's no need for the county to do that as any of that. And then again, Aransas County's energy cost, if we decide to do all 5 areas, we're based on our budget right now. I'm not sure. The schematic design budget, we're not sure we can do all 5 areas. We're still moving in that direction to see, but it would be $65 per year per landscape area. What we would do is do biannual maintenance for the plant beds and the monoliths, and hopefully get with our mid-coast specialists to do the bedding maintenance and things like that.
So what are they going to do in the northern area where you have the picnic tables and stuff. Are they going to rebuild those? I mean, seems like we're doing a lot of work to have some cabanas with the roof ripped off.
Yes, yes, that is a good question. They are going to remove the roofs, just remove them completely, and they're going to spruce up that area in general. But that's not on our grant dime. They'd planned on removing them anyway, but they just wanted to wait and see what we wanted to do with the grant and the landscaping around it. That is their plan, because you're right, it's not great. Any other questions?
It's quite a plan.
I know, I'm so excited. I just really hope, I think it's gonna be a great addition to our area. But we'd like to formally present the grant to you as a group. And it's just a pro forma because we're going to end up putting this plaque weighs like 30 pounds. We're going to end up putting it probably at the Tivoli, the TxDOT.
Wow.
So,
Impressive.
yes. So that's it. So if we could take a picture, we'd appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. And we hope, yeah, I have my camera.
Come on up, commissioners. Valerie, get up here.
I'll explain to everybody that the house's size just went up like that.
You better get up here.
You get in the middle.
Let her get up here.
Get up there. Good.
Wait a minute, we gotta get Valerie.
Jack,
Yeah.
you and William kind of go out to the outside.
We know how
Oh, we're getting in the way. Yeah, there you go.
We know how that goes.
All right, go this way.
Oh.
1, 2. Usually it's for ladies, you just have to start taking pictures. And then they start. Perfect.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's exciting. All right. Under consent, have a couple of items.
Good. One more presentation. Bill, get it on. Can you do that right quick?
Can't do a presentation unless it's on the.
Not presentation, but citizens to be heard.
It is. All right, go ahead.
Kiki. 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll do it as fast as I can. You have any easel here?
No.
You gonna hold those people? Huh? You gonna hold them? That'd be awesome.
I charge the hour.
And let's go over on that. My name is Julian Day. Everyone knows me as Kiki. Let's see if I read. Yeah, it works. Anyway, right now, this is the Islands of Rockport property. Everything you see here in white is developed. And right now we have 24 homes with 3 going on. So that'll make it 27. And we got another 3 online here for the next 6 months. So that'll make it 30 homes in this development right here. And as this is maturing very, very nicely, me and my investment group, we purchased this property here in the last 60 days, the remaining portion in the remaining lots of phase 1, the remaining land right here of Islands of Rockport, and we bought the Pegasus property here. And it's our intent to start construction in February and start a phase 2 project. Right now, this phase 1 project, along with this additional land, and this land right now is on the tax rolls for approximately $30 million. When this is all said and done and built out here, all this property here should be well over $150 million in value. So this is just kind of a basic design that we've come up with. It has various price points. We think it covers the basis of housing needs here.
want to live on the water. So we're very excited about this project. As we go further into the future here, you can see we're building basically a little town. And, we've got places here for, hotels and condominiums and villas and boat slips and a marina, single family homes, retail component to it. And so it's a significant project. And we just really wanted to make everyone aware that we are working on this as we speak, and available for any questions afterwards if anybody has anything.
All right, thank you. Looks like an exciting project. All right. Back to the agenda, we have 2 items.
Judge, I move to approve the consent items.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove third quarter 2020 report from the Rockport Cultural Arts Center. Come on up. How you doing, Miss Day?
Judge, thank you, commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to provide the third quarter HOT report from the Rockport Cultural Arts District. My name is Jennifer Day. Highlights, main highlights of this 27-page slide presentation. So we've done a lot in the third quarter. We have brought a lot of color and vitality to the district area, which includes Austin Street and goes up Market Street up to Pearl. It stops at the old Beach Park sign, the circle sign that was there. And we provided color and activity. We have provided signs. We supported and sponsored the youth leadership class in their mural project. Get back here. This was a compilation of these youth, their very first project that they've ever done. They were originally going to paint this, participate in the painting of this mural, but because of COVID, what we did was we had them each provide renderings, and then we compiled those renderings. So their names are also on this mural. This is something they can be proud of for quite some time. It also adds another beautiful mural to the downtown area, which attracts quite a few visitors. We did decide we were going to look at having the Kite Festival, which was originally scheduled for April of this year in October, but we did decide to wait until April of next year to do the Kite Festival. We've spent quite a bit of time marketing and promoting the district on Facebook and on our website. We promoted the events, the exhibits, the farmers and the makers markets. We promoted local businesses and artists, and also culinary features, which is something that's very, very unique and people love about this area. Statistics on our Facebook growth. So now I want to talk about the main projects we have going on. We have quite a few large projects going on. The acquisition of the old Rockport Railroad San Antonio Aransas Pass Depot, which we're working on the acquisition of, restoration, raised quite a bit of funding, which I'll show you in just a short time, to restore the exterior. We've also secured a grant from the state of Texas, the Texas Commission on the Arts, towards the restoration of the exterior, as well as raised additional funds from other foundations. We've identified a branding logo, which is a really cool logo. It incorporates the history of the depot as well as kind of a very modern contemporary art logo, and you'll see that coming out here shortly. We'll have a press release shortly. We've also secured merchandising. We have polos and cups, and in fact, an old symbolize of an old train whistle that's made of wood that we will be selling as merchandise. This also, one thing that's very important to note is that heritage tourism is one of those areas that draws a lot of tourists, not to mention the fact that there are a ton of railroad buffs that are very, very supportive of this activity. We also have the support of Hugh Hemphill, who is from the Texas Transportation Museum in San Antonio, who is just dying for us to get this closed so we can have a big event. He is also a part of a group of individuals who have a collection of 1925 and 1926 Model Ts that they're going to bring down as we celebrate the closing of the depot. This is documentation from the American Planning Association report that came out in January, noting the importance of the depot. We do want to thank the Aransas County and the state funding for the acquisition of the depot. The way this has turned out is the depot will be donated to the Cultural Arts District, and then the remaining property is the property that is identified for the downtown parking and supporting governmental and the different amenities that are coming into the district. Another major undertaking that we are doing is in partnership with one of our very renowned artists down here, Steve Russell, and that is a bronze sculpture project called Cultural Interface. There's two different pieces of art. Each piece has three 9-foot pieces to it. The first is the European colonists. That will be a European conquistador, a monk, and a pirate. That will be a collection set in the water. We're working with the Aransas County Navigation District to get that completed. There is nothing like this in the United States. We expect this to draw a tremendous amount of visibility to this area, and we're very excited about it. The second collection is a collection of Karankawa Indians, the native Karankawa Indians. That will actually be put on shore, and the theme is that the European colonist will be looking from the water to the Karankawa Indian family that will be on the land. Thus, he knows all types of historic stories, and this is a depiction of that interface. These are actually not as large as the ones that will be in the water. There's the pirate and the conquistador. These will be connected along with the monk. Another piece of public art, again, renowned artist Steve Russell is the artist for this, and this is the Rockport Art Colony. This will be a mural that depicts the history of the Rockport Art Colony stemming from the 1940s. And we also got funding from the state of Texas for this. So both the depot project and the art colony mural are visible at a state level. And as I mentioned, we did get funding for this. This is the centerpiece of the art colony mural. What will come off of this is it will be a collage. And this, as I mentioned, is a centerpiece, and you'll have different pieces around this. The size of this mural is going to be approximately 45 feet by 10 feet. So it's going to be a very big mural, and it's targeted to go on North Street, which is right down from the depot between between Magnolia Street and Austin Street. We're also sponsoring the book launch of Boats, Bays, and Birds. This is a book that was generated or written by Kay Betts and Vicki Moon Merchant. It was underwritten by Texas A&M, their press. And this is, we're going to do this in conjunction with the sesquicentennial and have the book launching at that time. Hopefully at the depot.
Yeah.
There's several other initiatives going on, but those three I wanted to highlight to you. Here's some grants that we have received and some additional financial support. I do want to point out that because we're designated as a cultural arts district, the qualifying entities within the district are eligible to receive funds they would not have been able to receive had we not gotten that designation. The Rockport Center for the Arts got $45,000 grant because of that, and that supports the art festival for next year. Additionally, we have supported, and we're so glad that Rockport Little Theater is now in the district. This is the purpose of the district, is to generate economic growth, generate arts, get that artistic influence, which we know draws dollars to areas. The Rockport Little Theater, we work with them to write the Margaret Stewart Rusk Foundation grant. They did get $25,000 towards the improvement of the building that they purchased downtown, as well as they will qualify next year for the Cultural Arts District grants, just like the Center for the Arts did. And this is lastly a group picture of very enthusiastic people who work very hard in the Cultural Arts District.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Have any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's nice to have positive things going on in the county. The last two presentations were both very positive. Thank you.
Judge, I move to approve the third quarter 2020 report for Rockport Cultural Arts District as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Discuss, approve, disapprove proclamation P10 2020, a proclamation recognizing November 28th, 2020 as either Small Shop Saturday or Shop Small Saturday. I don't know which one.
It's supposed to be
Rockport, Fulton.
Shop Small.
Okay. Anyway, we'll get that straightened out.
Okay. Judge, Commissioners, this is Proclamation P-10-2020, recognizing November 28th, 2020 as Shop Small Saturday in Rockport, Fulton, Texas. Whereas small business is the cornerstone of our free enterprise system, and since the birth of this country has represented opportunity, independence, and the fulfillment of dreams for generations of Americans. Whereas small business owners who initially suffered from Hurricane Harvey issues, and now with the COVID-19 pandemic, work long hours juggling family, career responsibilities, and serving as community volunteers, are integral to our country's prosperity and to the vibrancy of our community. Through the opportunities offered by the men and women who own and operate small businesses, many of our citizens are able to pursue their dreams of a better life. Whereas we recognize Shop Small Saturday on Saturday, November 28th, 2020, as a day to celebrate and support small businesses that create jobs, boost the economy, and invigorate neighborhoods around the country, and to encourage residents to shop local. Whereas shopping local keeps sales tax dollars in our community, and whereas it is fitting to recognize small businesses for the key role they play in strengthening our economy. Now, therefore, let it be known that on this 9th day of November 2020, the Aransas County Commissioners Court do hereby proclaim Shop Small Saturday in the Rockport Fulton area, and urge all of our citizens to join in participating in the roundabout cards prize drawings as we celebrate the accomplishments of small business owners and their employees, and encourage the general public to do their shopping locally.
Thank you, Judge. And Commissioners, I have with us the chairman of the event, Carmen of the Dish House. Carmen. She's been working and coordinating with a lot of the businesses, and we'd love to get your photo if we could signify the proclamation.
All right. Jack,
Yes, sir.
You want to go ahead and vote on it?
Yeah, let's make a motion.
Judge, I would make a motion to approve proclamation P-10-2020 to recognize November 28, 2020 as the Shop Small Saturday in Rockport, Fulton, Texas, and encourage local shopping on the day after Thanksgiving, traditionally one of the busiest shopping days of the year.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, how are we going to do this? And Steve? All right.
Thank you very much.
Here, you go. I need to sign that. You want to hold it up?
Yeah, there you go.
Same thing, small one ready. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Discuss further disapprove allowing Axe Aviation, a faith-based family-run flight school, to advertise and host a fly-in at the airport on Saturday, December the 5th and 6th this year. The airport will remain open. Participants will be allowed to camp under wing, and entertainment, food, trucks, temporary bathrooms, facilities will be available by Axe. Mr. Gear.
Good morning, Judge.
You're up,
and
Mr. Gear.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. So yeah, I think the most important thing to remember there is this is not an air show. The airport will remain open to the public and to general aviation, and I don't see any reason that it will affect our normal operations, except that we may just be a little busier than normal. As far as the camping under wing, that's pretty typical at fly-ins. I don't see any issue with that either. Food trucks, entertainment. Again, there's plenty of room over on the east side of the airport, which is where this is projected to take place. And I've talked at length with Cody Stewart of Axe about all this, and I think I think we're on the same page. The airport board weighed in on it, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. But just briefly, I'll tell you what I talked to Cody about, and I think we have a solid agreement on everything. But I'll be holding a safety briefing that I'll document ahead of the event with all the volunteers and anybody else that's going to be involved in this. I don't want any fires or barbecue pits. The grass is dead on that side of the field right now. I think that'd be a bad idea anyway around all the planes. Only all the food trucks need to be inspected by environmental health, and I think that's just normal procedure. But I want to be able to see that certificate in the window. Cody again is going to provide portable toilets. No alcoholic beverages need to be allowed. We don't allow that anywhere in the county or on the airport on county-owned property. Let's see. Okay, now as far as the airport board, and I agree with some of their concern. I polled them individually, as we haven't had a meeting in a little while in person. I'm trying to get them to accept the technology of Zoom, and maybe we can have a virtual meeting soon. But I polled everybody, and there were a couple of folks that wanted to see, make sure we had the insurance in place. I think that as long we did come into an agreement on that Cody will have an event policy. And then the other thing that came up was our COVID-19 protocols. And overwhelmingly, everybody wants to see it on the advertisement. I want to see it on the advertisement that county protocols will be in place for COVID-19. That means social distancing and masks. Masks where social distancing is not possible. And then the other thing is some of the board members really weren't in favor of the event at all because of the fact that we could be having people come in from out of our community that could be bringing COVID into our community. And just, that's for y'all to decide. My thought on it is this is aviation is a form of tourism. The runway is like the highway. It's like a harbor or the beach. I mean, until we're shutting down beaches or or highways coming in. I don't know why the airport would be any different than that. But again, that's y'all's decision. So I'm in favor of it. I know I can make it work from a safety standpoint. I don't have any issues with it, as long as everything I listed to you is adhered to. And Cody, are you on? Would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'm here, and thank
Is
you,
Cody on?
Court. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you,
Yes.
Court and Judge, for your time and consideration for this. We're real excited to possibly kick this off. It's been a long time since we had a fly-in event in Aransas County, and being part of a flight school, I think this is a great opportunity for students around the area to see that there's, if they're ever interested in aviation, this is a great time to come out and see airplanes and that type of thing. So we hope we get approved. So thank you.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
How are you going to handle traffic? How are you going to handle traffic?
Yeah, and so
You need to
there.
get it a little closer.
Yeah.
No, I think I heard you, Commissioner. You said, "How are we going to handle traffic?" I think
Yes.
Cody's had some discussions with Sheriff Mills about that, whether or not we needed to have traffic control at the gates. I don't, I can't really project how big this thing's going to be. We could get a few, 5 planes and nobody from the community, or we could get 30 planes and 1,000 visitors from our community to come out. But so we have a couple of different options. The main option would be to use one of the 3 or all 3 gates on Highway 35 in some manner. But the main gate that I would think we would use would be the gate up by, and you forgive me, but I'm going to go back to pre-Harvey. We had a blue hangar on the corner of 35 and close to John Wendell Road. There was a Caliche parking lot that was associated with it, and there's a gate for that parking lot. And I think that would be the natural funnel point from anybody coming in and out of town. We've got a lot of cones. I've got cones to be able to separate where to park, where to walk, to keep people from walking and wandering out on the taxiways. At least there'd be suggested barriers, and I assume that volunteers would be in those areas. But as far as slowing traffic down on Highway 35 to get people in and out, that's a good question. I think Cody again may have something to add to that based on his discussions with the sheriff.
So we're going to be sending out mainly Facebook invites, and hopefully we get a good count, kind of like what the city of Beaumont is doing for their fly-in this coming weekend, to see what kind of interested parties are going to be coming. If it looks like it's a sizable event, then yes, we'll talk more with the sheriff's department. But right now, we're not expecting a large event. This is the first one in a long time, so it's going to be interesting within 4 weeks how many people could change their plans for the weekend. So we're not expecting a huge event.
I've got a form of motion here that brings in a couple of more protective points that we might want to consider. I move to approve the proposed weekend fly-in event, December 5th and 6th, 2020, hosted by Airport Tenant Acts Aviation, provided they indemnify Aransas County and bear the full cost of the event, including cleanup and the necessary certificate of insurance, naming Aransas County as an additional insured on a general liability policy consistent with coverage that we've required of other public events held at the airport.
I would second that. If that's a motion, I would second that. But also I have another point, Mike. I can see as we go forward that with what Cody's doing with the aviation out there, that we might have opportunities to have more fly-ins. That's a good business that we wouldn't normally have into the community. But I'd really like to see a policy presented to the Commissioner's Court for them to approve with a matrix as to what you're going to have to do in order to even approach the Commissioner's Court about a fly-in as a formal agenda item.
I would agree with that, but also, Mike, will you have staff present to ensure that the security and safety of the people using the airport, flying in and flying out?
Well, so
in other
this
words,
will be
is there
on the
additional costs?
Yeah, no additional cost necessarily. There's going to be on the weekend, and we're down to a staff of 2 on the weekends, and they're probably going to stay pretty busy with just fueling people up. Typically, for any event at the airport, I volunteer my time to come out on the weekend and be here for the lion's share of the event. I'll do that on this one too. I'll be here for a minimum of 4 hours on each of the days, and probably longer, just to have a presence, and then also, just to make sure that we're doing everything is safe, obviously. But the other thing I was going to add is our self-serve fuel island, which a lot of folks in single engine piston aircraft, they like to fuel at the self-serve island because it saves them a little bit of gas. Back in the old days, whenever we had full service gas stations in town, it cost a little bit more to fill your tank than it did to do it yourself, and that's still true in aviation. But what we thought we would do is to cut down on runway crossings and people having to taxi all the way across the airport for the self-serve. Is my staff here would position our avgas low lead refueler truck on the east side of the field to be able to do transactions over there and fuel the planes over there. But we would discount the fuel to the same price as the self-serve pump. So in other words, we want to incentivize people to take fuel off the truck. And then my only logistical issue is whether or not I can get enough Wi-Fi signal on that side of the field or internet signal on that side of the field to be able to perform the credit card transaction through our hub. But I think we'll be able to get it done. If not, then we can at least save the plane from taxiing across the runway, and we can carry the pilot or the aircraft owner back over to the terminal to complete the fuel transaction.
Mike, my understanding is that you're furnishing the use of the airport and you're not charging a fee for it, right?
No, typically on something like this, the airport makes its money back or makes its money through the fuel sales. So yeah, we're not.
Okay,
I don't see any reason to charge for it.
But the motion that was read by Commissioner Lawback talks about the full cost of the event, that these people are going to bear the full cost of the event, right?
Yes, sir. I don't see how we're going to spend a dime on this.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Someone left their glasses. Pat Rousseau, 187 Heron Oaks in Rockport, and Commissioner-elect for Precinct 3. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I want to, for one, offer a recommendation on Cody Stewart. He and I were in the Leadership Aransas County class about 12 or 13 years ago, and he had a very successful career after he left Aransas County in San Antonio and then returned here with his family, which I think is very beneficial to us in Aransas County, both with his flying school and just in what he and his family bring to this community. I would like to encourage approval of this request to use the airport. I know that Gene Johnson had something slightly different from this, possibly in 2015, and it was a success. And I think to bring in something with young families, I know they've done things like this in Fredericksburg that have been very, very successful. And this is an innovative way for us to extend our community and welcome more tourism from young families, which would be a good thing to have here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for that input. Appreciate it. And the motion was made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove advertising for 2021 road material bids.
Judge, I would move to advertise for bids for the county 2021 road materials per the packets we received, with such bids to be accepted until 2 p.m. on Wednesday, December 9th, 2020.
Motion made.
I'll second that.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove order 21-2020 petition of Homer Hernandez to close, abandon, and vacate a 100-foot roadway called Hood Street, Manning Addition, Aransas County, recorded in Volume 1, page 7 of the plat records of Aransas County, Texas, and described as meets and bounds as Exhibit A and B attached with the petition.
I'm not sure why we have this back on there. We had it on the previous meeting and came up with a couple of things. One, that we have an ongoing tax suit on some of the lots that adjoin the right of way. The other one, there are some of the lots on the right of way that would be, wouldn't have any access if they would fall into the hands of some other owner. And I think we asked that they replat those lots.
But we only,
There and,
we only tabled, so it didn't go away until we actually vote it down. It's just going to keep coming back up until it's resolved.
Yeah, but we were also, I think if I recall, we were questioning whether the lots that were still going to be abutting those would have right of ingress or egress from it. And I don't know, I don't see anything in this proclamation here or in this order that says that they've provided for that.
I mean, we can either vote it down and it'll go away, or we can just keep tabling it, and each time we'll take up the issue of whether it's.
I'm curious if there's some kind of requirement that has to come back up every meeting, because to me, we should table it until they accomplish replatting the lots and
Can we do a sort of conditional tabling? I don't know if that's part of what we're allowed.
Well, we have an agenda item here. We either have to approve it or table
Ms.
it.
Oster, can you give us a legal opinion?
What I know we can do is deny, vote it down, and then it can come back up anytime in the future that it's right to come back up.
My issue with going it down and voting it down is, I assume that if we vote it down, the people petitioning are going to have to pay the fees to do the postings and all that. Gary, would that be?
No, I wouldn't think so. But I think Wendy's right. You can just vote it down at this point, and we wouldn't charge it because the work is done.
Yeah.
It's already been posted and certified, so it's just a matter of addressing what the commissioner's for. But you could turn it down and state the reason and get it in the minutes until they comply.
Right, we can make it clear that we welcome it in the future when the conditions
Okay.
change.
Bring it back.
Problem
We
with
wouldn't
it
have to post it.
All right, do we have a motion?
Judge, I would move to disapprove order 0212-220, the petition of Homer Hernandez to close, abandon, and vacate the 100-foot roadway called Hood Street, Manning Edition, Aransas County, Texas, recorded in Volume 1, Page 7 of the plat records of Aransas County, Texas, and described by the meets and bounds on Exhibit A and B attached to the petition.
I would second that.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, in order to shorten all these stuff a little bit, item number 10 is discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R43 2020. Award of environmental services contract with Tri-Lift contingent upon successful negotiation. And because it's going to be read again in a motion, do I have a motion?
Well, you want me to read it again?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
That's the
Judge,
way
I
it's
move
going
to
right now.
approve resolution R43-2020 to award an environmental services contract for the provision of a Federal Communications Commission National Environmental Policy Act report on a county's proposed radio tower associated with CDBG-DR contract 2006598-C270 to the Tri-Leaf Corporation, a multidisciplined engineering firm certified to provide FCC NEPA environmental clearance services.
Correct.
Is this an emergency tower? Is that what this
I'll
is?
second that. I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded now.
Yeah, what basically is we're part of our CDBG-DR grant. We got a grant to build a radio tower on the south part of the county.
For primarily emergency
Emergency
communications?
services, yes. And they will eventually take over
What's the location?
The water, it's at the water towers at 188 and Highway 35. We're gonna get a small portion of that property, put the tower up.
Do we have any idea about the cost of the contract? Do we have any idea what it'll cost us to hire the engineers to do this work?
I don't have it in front of me, no. It's all paid through the grant.
Okay. I have motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Jack. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R 2020. Now, you want me to read it? Oh, no.
I can read it.
Okay.
I move to approve amended resolution R 2020A to specifically name Aransas County Council on Aging, an organization that provides home delivered meals to homebound persons in the county who are elderly and or have a disability, as a referenced organization receiving a 2021 $45,000 grant from Aransas County, unintentionally omitted in resolution R 37-2020 that was passed by this court on September 14, 2020.
Second that motion.
So is what happened that we approved this, but we just left some words off of the
A small
resolution?
paragraph out.
It did not reference the actual name of the organization. It just said organization.
Okay.
We need to vote.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove amendment R 2020, a resolution of Aransas County certifying that Aransas County, oh, yes, of course we did. Oh, item number 12 is what has been requested to be tabled, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, we need to table
Judge, I'd
that.
make a motion to table.
Motion made.
Made to table authorizing county judge to sign a long-term lease agreement with 22T Aviation.
Second.
Second. Commissioner Cheney, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove October 2020 indigent health care. Ms. Cartwright.
For the month of October, the total expenditure for the month was $15,479. Fiscal year to date is $41,239. Last year at this point, we're at
57,739.
And tell me again when the year-to-date goes back to what, September? Okay.
Judge, I move to approve the October 2020 indigent health care report.
Second.
Made, seconded. Commissioner Castleline, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Approve, disapprove new paralegal job description to be effective January 1st, 2021 for the Office of the County Attorney. No new monies.
Did you receive a copy of the job description?
I did, yes.
Okay, do you have any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Anybody got a motion?
Yes, Judge, I would move to approve the new paralegal job description for the county attorney's office as submitted.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Commissioner Castleline, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But don't go away yet because we also
Discuss,
have to
approve,
approve.
disapprove authorizing county attorney elect to begin posting the paralegal job opening with an effective date of January 1st, 2021, and interviewing potential candidates.
Judge, I would move to approve authorizing county attorney-elect Amanda Oster to post a paralegal job opening with an effective start date of January 1, 2021, and to begin interviewing potential candidates for the position.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Castleline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Discuss, approve, disapprove budget line item transfer and amendments. We know we have none.
Judge, I move to approve the budget line item transfers and amendments for this period.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Aye.
Approve, disapprove accounts payable, payroll, and payroll liabilities.
Judge, I move to approve accounts payable and payroll liabilities.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. Commissioner Castleline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Now we come to the time everybody's busy and wants to get up and talk. Elected officials or department heads have something they'd like to bring up. Now's the time.
Judge, I would like to request a workshop on Thursday of next week.
Thought it was Wednesday. Thought Wednesday.
I'm sorry, on Wednesday of next week, to discuss possible or to consider with perhaps an action item, 381 agreements, policy for the future, for future development.
I don't think you can have an action item at a workshop, can you?
You can have an action item after the workshop's over.
So we're going to have both a workshop followed immediately by a meeting at which we will vote up or down on a tax abatement?
If so necessary.
So workshop special meeting?
Well, no, it's not necessarily a tax abatement, but it is the whole policy of the 381. But anyway, we want a workshop so that we can make sure everybody understands exactly what we're doing with action to follow.
Why would we be having a special meeting immediately after the workshop instead of waiting?
Special meeting for that. We're having a special meeting for canvassing, I believe. Or is that this week?
That's this week.
Oh, never mind. Now, yeah. Okay. Now.
Then I would recommend we leave any tax abatement agreement or 381 agreement for a regular meeting.
Yeah.
Not a special meeting. Why would we have a special meeting? There's no emergency.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't we? I mean, we have to.
Because it's a matter of enormous public interest and we should not be seen to be rushing through it. There's no time pressure.
My motion stands.
A motion, do I have a second?
You're making a
You
motion
can't
now.
make a
or what?
motion and
Oh, no.
Oh, that's right. That's
agenda
right.
item.
That's right.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Way ahead.
We don't have an agenda item for a motion to.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm still in the mood. All right, and
It'll be Wednesday of next week. I think that's the 18th, yes.
Mr. Reed, come on up. You got something interesting.
Thank you, Judge. Carla, would you put that drawing up, please? I want to just present a situation that y'all need to be aware of. I'll spend a few minutes explaining things, and at some point, this probably will come back to court for discussion and a decision. But can you zoom out? That's good. So Mundine Road, and this is the west end of Mundine Road. Mundine is south of 188, and it runs between the bypass and 1069. This is the area by 1069. You can see where the road is, and it kind of angles down into 1069. And you can also see there that there was a right-of-way, or there is a right-of-way up to the top of that. That was the original platted right-of-way. Over years, I don't know, probably 60 years, 80 years, people have kind of driven through trying to miss a lake or a low area holding water. So they drove around it and then tied back into it. And over time, that's where the road was put. According to the Transportation Code, Chapter 258, counties were allowed to make a road map that fix these kind of things. And we went through that process. David Beerall did this and published it in 2005. And basically what it did was create an actual right-of-way where the road is. And what Transportation Code says is if you do this and you do this road map and it's approved and you go through the process and all this was done, then this road map is conclusive evidence that of the public's right to access this road and the county's authority to spend other money. And that's the situation we have. Now, what we still have is that old right-of-way that's there. And what we have is lots that were on that old right-of-way that now are still fronting that old right-of-way, but actually have to drive through private property to access the roadway. So, so this has been like this for a very long time. I mean, I don't know. Jerry left a long time. I recently had a property owner come in and ask me about this, so I said I'd do some research and see what's going on. I see that there's probably three things we could do. One of them is to not do anything. It is what it is. It's been like that for a long time. We don't worry about it until it becomes a problem. Now, maybe that doesn't happen in my lifetime, and Wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. It probably will happen in somebody's lifetime that it becomes an issue. Because the fact is, people are driving across a county right away and then across private property to get to a road. The second thing we could do is abandon that original right of way. We don't need it anymore. We've got a right of way. Kind of gets us out of the issue. There's still the same issue. People are going to have to drive through private property to access our road, and those lots are no longer fronting a right of way. But again, it's not our problem. It's theirs to figure out however they want to do it. The last option that I can think of, and if great, is try to get all these property owners together in a room on Zoom, something, and discuss this, and maybe work out something that allows the access of these properties onto our road and the right of way that we don't need anymore. Maybe there's something we can figure out.
David, I think state law provides that a property owner has the right of ingress and egress to an improved road across private property. Couldn't we just say those particular private roads across property are recognized as
You're asking me a legal question. I don't know. Maybe that's right. Maybe the best option is not to do it.
I think the people using the road might have to sue the property.
Yeah.
Is it not an option for us to put the road where it was originally designed to be?
Well, yes, that is an option. We could do that.
Because in the county road
that's
law, we don't have a full right of way. We're
Yeah.
only allowed to build what was in use. So you don't,
Yeah.
if the original right of way was wider, you have more room for drainage and all that kind of stuff because you don't have unlimited space on the.
So if you look in that right of way, you'll see that there's a couple of houses.
exactly? It's
Yeah, we'd be right on their front porch.
Now, we could move the road. We'd cause some problems.
We might be able to negotiate, we might be able to get with real estate experts and negotiate some way to clarify everybody's egress rights, ingress and
I
egress
know it's
rights.
not an agenda item here, but it seems to me the best thing to do is leave the road that's actually being used where it is and let the
I would
property owners
agree.
out there deal on getting the ingress and egress from each one of the other property.
On Burton Street, what David V did was trade the platted right of way for right of way where the road was.
It gives people an incentive.
And I'm thinking that same kind of a thing, maybe we get a little flag off these lots for those property owners that need the access and we give up the right of way and, somehow work it out. I mean, I think that's
How many
possible.
property owners are you talking about? Do you have any idea?
Oh, probably 10 or so.
I think it's 10.
Yeah. Something
Getting that
like
many people in the same room and they spend, it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's going to be easy.
But if we have a right of way to offer to give up, we at least have a bargaining chip.
Yeah. We have something to offer. But like I said, this is just informational. If you have some thoughts want to talk to me about it out of court sometime, by all means, give me a call. I'd be glad to show you the state law about the roadmap, which is really kind of interesting. On a side note, this statute is the same reason that I believe John Wendell Road is a county road and should have been taken over by the city when it was annexed. It's on that roadmap.
David,
Thank you for reminding me.
on a different road and bridge note, we previously had a road closure. I would like to see you work us up some guidelines. We over the years had kind of had things that, we would only abandon minimum ones. But I think as many of these things that are brought up to us that maybe we need to work on some guidelines and say, okay, they need to fall within this for us to even consider it.
I'd be happy to do that. I'd like to get some input from the court, what they're actually looking for. I know Commissioner Smith has said several times that what is the benefit to the county of abandoning a right of way? And if that's something, that makes it much harder to abandon a right of way. to show that there's a benefit to us.
Well, the benefit is then it'll become taxable.
That's something. That's something. Yeah. But
in the past, the problems that have come up from ones that courts in the past that have abandoned them once population grew, then you needed the right of way for either drainage or utilities or something like that. I mean, in the past, we've only abandoned small portions or road right of ways that were out in the middle of some pasture that there was nobody around it, or maybe like this one that we had up is a few hundred feet long of a road right of way.
I think we have other issues much like this. I know actually in my precinct, there's Shell Ridge Road out there. There's another classic example of erosion and the lots moving back, and some of those houses out there are actually built on a dedicated right of way.
Yeah.
So
those aren't cheap houses. They're on the waterfront.
Let's kind of work on, again, of trying to have a sheet where we can send people and say, hey,
we could do that. I mean,
this, you got a chance of us doing it.
I know there's been cases.
We've run into them all the time.
Just a case in point too, addressing this to Mrs. Oster over there. Not your immediate predecessor, but Jim Anderson, who was county attorney for over 32 years. I discussed with him sometime at one point in time, the situation out there on Shell Ridge, and he just threw his hands up in the air. He says, I don't even want to fool with it right now. It's just, it's a mess.
It's probably still that way.
And it probably still is that way. Yeah. So.
So the road moved out, is that new road being used? Has it been taxed right now?
Well, I have no idea.
You mean where the road's supposed to be?
Where the road is now. I think if you actually look in the appraisal district maps, they've created that area between the two right-of-ways as a tract unto itself, and the area out on the south of it as a tract, even though in some cases it's the same owner. So I think not. I think it is not being taxed. Yeah.
You probably got some inequities in there.
Do you live there?
No.
Okay.
And I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not expensive property.
I would suggest this be deferred until next year. Mrs. Russo's problem at that point.
I don't expect to have a solution before next year. So.
And in this particular instance, the property owner who brought this to the attention is not in any big hurry.
No.
They were on a long-term, they're going to live there long-term, but they would like to find out whether or not they can put a fence across that property because they own property on both sides of the road.
Right. Any other questions, comments?
Do you have any fees to report?
I know, sir. I'd like to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Arrington County Clerk. I just wanted to reiterate what Katie had to say, remind people about Veterans Day on Wednesday. I can't speak for this court, but I think they stand with me when I say we appreciate our veterans. The county has a Veteran Services Department headed up by John Kroll, who is a veteran. He was a helicopter pilot. I want to remind veterans to use that service. And I also want to remind you that the courthouse is closed on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
I move to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Very much. Cheat sheets, how do we do?